And we are live. Welcome on your TVs in Texas and Louisiana, and joining around the world on X, LinkedIn, YouTube, and the rest. Instagram. It's always I should say that because I have to remember. Instagram makes you go, but after you go live, it makes you go over there and click go live. Instagram should really drop that. Anyway, great show we have lined up today. There's a lot going on. In the world. As you know, as we're heading in, this is an election year around the world, around the West for sure, but really around the world. Everybody seems to be on this same election cycle, and so we're doing that. We have a lot of political things going on here. We have a lot of people that have entered into the United States who I was talking about it last night on my X account. I think are going to, many of them are going to vote. People say, oh, no, 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 only citizens can vote. You know, Obama, I told everybody that anybody can vote. And anybody's telling, they're all basically, I don't know if they're all, but they're telling them that people can vote. And so if you're a person that's come here illegally and you're not really worried about getting in trouble, because it doesn't seem like you guys they get in trouble very much, and I don't blame any of them for coming, by the way. I don't blame any of them. I would come too. But this is what Obama told them. This is
people try to discourage you from voting.
That they're hearing.
People try to discourage you from voting. If you want to vote and you show up at your polling place, they can't stop you from voting. They can't stop you from voting. If people want to know how to vote, then you can go to iwillvote.com. The fact of the matter is that we give our power away all the time. You know, we tell ourselves, oh, it's hard, it's not going to matter, it's not going to count. And the powers that be, they're counting on us giving our power away.
Many of the millennials, dreamers, undocumented citizens, and I call them citizens because they contribute to this country, are fearful of voting. So if I vote, will immigration know where I live? Will they come for my family and deport us?
Not true. Okay. And the reason is, first of all, when you vote, you are a citizen yourself, and there is not a situation where the voting rolls somehow are transferred over and people start investigating, et cetera. The sanctity of the vote is strictly confidential in terms of who you voted for. If you have a family member who maybe is undocumented, then you have an even greater reason to vote.
If you have a family member that's undocumented, you have even a greater reason to vote. There you have it, guys. That's this is what's going on here. So I mean, we'll see. There's still, of course, there's tremendous support that we have across the way, and you see elections going one way or the other. I think that even if we get a good run on this election, that the future ones may be quite challenging, and as well getting things done. I think getting things done is going to be pretty rough. So that was a post I put out yesterday on my X account. We did my friend Randy put up a here, I'll get to that in a minute. Let's cover some more of the stuff. So commodities move up. The Dow futures are up as well, but the Hong Kong Stock Exchange is down considerably. So I wouldn't say all the paper stocks are moving up yet, but they are. I think probably will move up today. Could be some volatility as the CPI numbers and the FOMC meeting, all of that comes out today. We'll see how they do. I think that the markets look pretty primed for an upward movement. They've taken the initiative of pushing the markets down, liquidating quite a few people. We'll have Matt on live today, so that's great. Although even not live, his reports are pretty awesome. Don't tell him though. He has to be live. No, I'm kidding. So we'll dive more into that in a bit. Some other interesting things. Trump has come out like full Bitcoin. I think part of it, of course, is survival, right? He wants that crypto vote. We're a pretty important block. I've said it around the world. that as soon as we realize that how powerful we are, that we will start and we start voting together around the world, that we're actually the most powerful group in the world. We all agree on major things like freedom, privacy, and ownership, and those are three really major things. So once we start realizing that and voting together, block voting together, that we're really powerful. So Trump has he came out yesterday, as I saw, and said that Bitcoin may be the last stand against CBDCs. And I've been on record a number of times saying that I think the CBDCs are a bit like the boogeyman, but in the same breath, it's a lot of control that will be there. But that control is already there with MasterCard and Visa and your debit card and the bank and everything else. But it will be more. But it also could add a level of transparency. It could add a level of transparency, and that's probably why they haven't done it yet, because there's nothing like dropping off pallets full of cash somewhere. I mean, if you drop off a bunch of CBDC currency that's tracked indefinitely, you get to see where that money went. And cash, it's much harder to do that. So I think that's one of the reasons. That's why I do think it's a bit like the boogeyman. The money, 90% of the US dollar is already digital. So that being said, I'm not in favor of CBDCs. I don't think they should do them. I think if they do them, they're going to try to add more control in there. But I think that's the main reason they haven't done it. If they could control us more with the CBDCs, they would have already done it yet. Doesn't mean that they won't figure something out. Milei joins the Ukraine Peace Summit. So this is fairly interesting because Milei has done a great job. I mean, let's face it, he's done a great job with Argentina. He's turned the country around. There have been some very interesting things to me that he has done as he got elected, and that kind of, I don't know if warning, but like really kind of like, oh wow, okay, not exactly who I thought he was. I'm still a fan. I think he's great. But it's just interesting that now he is joining the Ukraine Peace Summit. He was not going to join the Ukraine Peace Summit before. He was on a trip. He was going to hit multiple different sites, and he was not going to do the Ukraine Summit. Who knows what happened? It appears to me probably he got the, hey, you need to join the Ukraine Peace Summit. This is in the best deal. Maybe there was some kind of transaction or whoever. Pressure was put on him, and now he is going to fall in line and join the Ukraine Peace Summit. That's how it looks to me. Who knows? Interesting. I think newsworthy that he is now going to be backing Ukraine. I don't know if that's been something that he has done so far. They are pushing this peace deal in the Middle East. More and more talk from it's originated, I guess, in the UN. But really, there's a lot of support for this peace deal around the world, even in the United States. The government of the United States is very, it kind of walks the tightrope. They say that, Biden is anti-this, anti-Israel, and that. But he is a self-proclaimed Zionist, as a matter of fact. But they're just walking. It's just political antics. I always say Washington, D.C. is like Hollywood for ugly people. And it's true. And they're just, they're dancing around. But really, the point of it is there must be peace sooner or later. And, we're always pushing peace, no matter what side that you're on. We're not going to agree on everything ever, right? So, but we want to push peace. We want peace. And so pray for peace over there. There is a peace deal on the table that they're trying to get through. And we want that. We really do. So, and there hasn't, agreed it'll be more of a stalemate because that's how it's been there for thousands of years. But a stalemate is better than people killing each other. So I'm hoping that we do get that peace deal through. If you guys want to share your thoughts on that, of course, my ex is networks manager. You can drop a post below. Let me know your thoughts. Hey, Bruce, you're way off, or yeah, I want peace. Speaking of that, Russia places nukes off the Florida coast. So they have now nuclear submarines. We have what is, if we had somebody other than kind of Biden in there, it might be, something, it's reminiscent anyway of the nuclear standoff. We had the Cuban Missile Crisis, but it doesn't seem to be really like that. But certainly Putin appears to be flexing. Hey, look, you guys are going to use your weapons to attack us into Russia. He comes out and says earlier this week or the end of last week, we are going to also use our assets to attack, you guys or your assets in other places, or use other countries in order to attack. So one comes to mind is like Yemen. Maybe they'll start arming Yemen more, that Yemen can attack more ships in the Red Sea. Speaking of that, we talked about the Red Sea and the Houthis and Yemen a number of times as natural gas dove down to it's gone up 100% basically. It went down to like 150 per measure, however they measure that. And it's now above $3. Oil, of course, moves up as well, has been moving up. It went down for a little bit. Let's bring on the great Matt Dixon. Let's talk more about the markets. Sir Matt, I know you have your launch coming up as well. How are things going?
Yeah, all's good, thank you. Very busy. Got a big presentation tomorrow night to a group of people, so hopefully that's going to be amazing. So
I'm sure it will be. You've been working really hard at it, and you're doing a good job. So
yeah, we've got some great support from people around. So we've got some good communities that are going to come in and support. We've got some really interested investors. So yeah, I think it's going to be good. So I'll tell you more about that just as we get, very, very close. I'm just going to touch for a moment. I didn't plan to do this, but just you mentioned about Russia and what's going on there. So let me just share my screen. It's been days since I've done this. Let's just see, entire screen. Yeah, that should be it. So hopefully you can see my screen. And what I've done, I've just basically shown, I don't normally post political things at all, actually. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Moscow, Russia, and Belarusian troops have started a second stage of tactical nuclear drills in Russia. And from what I understand, now Putin has confirmed that nukes are in Belarus, right?
Yeah. So the thing about this is, I think Russia are very much being backed into a corner. Yep. I'm not saying I have no view. I'm not going to express any view on who's at fault or anything. But having said that, Russia was the aggressor. It seems, there's so much news out there. We need to decide for ourselves. But I'm just saying that Russia is very dangerous. They're like a wild animal. When you corner a wild animal, they are at the very most dangerous. So like a wild bear, when you corner it, they can become extremely aggressive and come out fighting. And that's the big worry. So the markets are looking pretty good, as you said. I mean, I'll just jump back to the markets. They're looking pretty good. It's quite amazing what's been happening. So we actually had, we basically spoke about this push up. I think it's a very recent push up anyway. The recent sell-off, I think, has been due to real palpable fear in the market about what is the CPI figure going to be tonight. When I say tonight, it's not tonight for you. It's only a couple of hours away, in fact.
Yep.
Tonight for me. So everyone's concerned about what the CPI figure is going to be, because obviously shortly after CPI, 10 o'clock Dubai time tonight, whatever time that is, we're going to have interest rate decision tonight from the FOMC, and the commentary and the press conference, and it's going to be very, very informative. But first of all, we get CPI. Now, the fear was that if we got elevated CPI, it's going to smash crypto, and that's why we got the sell-off in crypto. Some people calling it a mini crash. I mean, it wouldn't quite go that far, but we were 72,000 on Bitcoin. It came down to 66,000. There's some amazing opportunities there, because I was going out live on X, telling people, first of all, when to buy, but also when to short the market. And I was telling people on Friday on the Impact Money Show, saying, I will be taking profits here. I'm not necessarily going to go short, but I'm waiting for markets to come down before I then re-enter the markets. So I said take profits, and that the timing was spot on right at the top there. Then we got the fall off, and this was due to the anticipation of the CPI. Nobody knows quite, well, not many people know quite what it's going to be, but there's a concern and worry that if we get elevated CPI, it will mean the Fed are not allowed to lower, not going to be able to lower interest rates. And so this is not good for risk assets. And so that's why we've got the sell-off. But now, last night, we reached a really important area. So we've got basically a WXY down, where basically this Y wave exactly equal the W wave. So you can see I've got the line, dotted line across the top and the dotted line at the bottom. So you can see pretty much this wave equals this wave. It's a really nice kind of flat correction, not going anywhere. You can see it's just within this boundary, not going anywhere. But last night, I went out on X and said, this looks really interesting for potential buy opportunities, DCAing around these levels, because we saw that perfect ABC. But what's interesting, well, I say ABC, WXY, they're both corrections, makes a little difference. We will look at that. In fact, I'll just open that out first of all before we come back to the longer term. I'll just look at it very briefly on the 1 hour here. And I'll need to just show precisely there. That should cover it all. That's it on the 1 hour. I'll just expand it so you can see. So this is the WXY I was talking about. And within Elliott Wave, there's a few kinds of corrections. WXY is what's called a double three. And when you say a double three, what it is, it's 3 waves down here. So we've got A, B, C down. And then you have an X wave, which is the corrective wave here. And then you have an ABC. So you've got 2 ABCs connected with an X wave, which itself in this case is an ABC. It can also potentially be a triangle. So there are very few options, but this was the wave pattern that we had. So you can see this wave was just below the top of this wave. So we expected this wave to come just below the bottom of this wave. It did, just spiked a touch lower. That was a really good risk reward area to buy. And I did jump in. I actually said on Friday, I'm waiting for the markets to pull back. I took profits. I'm waiting for them to pull back because there will be opportunities. Now the market's moved up so rapidly overnight that we can now protect our positions, guaranteed profit now, no matter what happens with CPI. And that's what I like to do. CPI, an interest rate decision, is going to be a major market mover or potential to be a major market mover. But the thing is, you don't want to risk taking a position just before the news comes out, because the moves can be really aggressive, very, very volatile when that news comes out. So you can easily end up getting stopped, taking a big loss effectively if the market, you can even have a gap in the market sometimes and you can't get out of your position. So you can take some big losses potentially. But with this, manage to get in early, you can protect just a little bit of profit now, even if it's $1, $5, whatever trade size you have, you can protect something. So then if the market were to come down very sharply and this wave count's wrong and it comes down sharply, then I'm safe. I don't need to worry. I've got $1 profit or whatever profit you want to lock in. But that is, as I say, quite a clear, and you can see at the top is effectively a kind of double top here on this scale that we're looking at. Here and here is a double top, and then we got this, the next wave down. So I'll just go back very briefly to the daily, because this is the short-term time frame. And now if we look at the daily, we're looking at the bigger time frame for Bitcoin. So this area here, I'll probably put a circle on there just to show you. This is the area that we're just looking at here. So that's that WXY that we're looking at here. But now we can actually look on a bigger scale. We're now looking at the daily candles, and we can see it's a similar kind of picture. So in miniature, we have the ABC to give you a W wave, ABC to give you an X wave, ABC to give you a Y wave. That completes a larger B wave down, and we're going to move to the upside. But if we then just think about that in a bigger scale, as we look at this big picture, all the way out, covering the whole chart here, it looks quite similar. We've got A, B, C down, which is a W. We've got A, B, and we may get a C up to give us the X wave. And if that's the case, then it would potentially be a retest of the double top. So like we had the dotted line here, a double top where the price tested there and tested there, identical levels, that was a double top. I'm just saying there's reasonable potential for that to happen again. So we could just test up here to potentially give us another double top. Don't hang everything on this. It's one of the possibilities. As I say, every possibility has a level of probability. What I'm saying is this one has a reasonable level of probability that we could just retest in the form of a double top. Then we push down to complete a WXY, but then after that, we would then push up to new all-time highs again on Bitcoin. So if you're long, if you're a hodler, I think it's pretty clear that this is all corrective movement, certainly corrective to the downside here, an ABC move. So I would expect if you're a hodler from lower levels, you may have even been one of those amazing people who got into the FTX crash low of 15,500. If you had, you're sitting really pretty, and you can probably afford to sit on a long position for a long time to come, because from this chart, it clearly looks as though even if we do get a pullback from here, we are going to revisit and actually make new all-time highs for Bitcoin. So that's looking really promising. So as I say, I jumped in at this level here, the dotted line here last night. I'm hopeful that we will at least reach the top of the dotted line. So that would be an initial level that I'll look to once again protect profits around that level. And depending on what the news is tonight, we could potentially push higher. I mean, if we get soft CPI, and my bet is CPI is going to come out lower than expected. We're expecting, I mean, let's just go back. Let's just go to the CPI expectation. Here's CPI. We're actually expecting, forecast is 3.5% on the core, down from 3.6%, and the inflation rate staying stable at 3.4%. So I expect that we're going to get, you know, the fall to 3.5, and you can see it's been steadily falling, gradually falling. So if we get a continued fall, if it's 3.5 or even better, 3.4, that would be really, really bullish for risk assets. So I'm hoping we get those low figures. I'm hoping the fears that people had that we might get high inflation are unfounded. So I'm hoping and I'm expecting we get soft CPI. That will give the Fed room to maneuver. They won't lower rates tonight. I'm sure they won't raise rates tonight. They're going to stick at the same level. Interest rates will not change. That's 99% certain, or 90+% certain. Rates will stay on hold. But we'll give the Fed room to potentially talk a dovish stance, take a dovish stance and talk about lowering interest rates, maybe the next meeting or the meeting after, if data continues to perform on the good side. And if we see softer CPI, things are moving once again back in the right direction, and that will give Fed, as I say, that room to maneuver to potentially lower rates. Not this time round, maybe at the end of July, or maybe the next meeting after that. But I still believe that we're probably going to see 2 rate cuts this year. But I say that, the only thing I am a little bit concerned about all this geopolitical stuff going on, even though there's peace talks going on, we know that things can change very, very quickly. It's a very fluid situation. Same with Russia. There's a lot of maneuvers going on there. So those things, that's why I like to protect my positions, because the market can fall out of bed at any time from a black swan event that you can't possibly predict when it's going to happen, if it's going to happen. It could be something completely unforeseen that we're not even aware of. So that's why I like to protect positions as quickly as possible. So I do my analysis as I've done here. I think we'll probably retest double top at least. Great to get in position here, now protected, so no matter what, I can walk away comfortably. It was the same across the board. So this is an amazing picture for Bitcoin. Solana was also absolutely amazing. This was again a buy area for me here, and I've changed my views a little bit. But like Bitcoin, I think that potentially we might push higher. I'm not sure we'll push this high, but we had what I think is 5 waves down on Solana: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's all within the rules. This 4 does not cross there, and actually I could actually show you that again. I'm going back to Bitcoin, but I won't because we've got so much to cover. But Bitcoin was the same actually, with one of the moves it had. There was no overlap here. In fact, I will just very quickly jump back to Bitcoin because I think it's really important to see that potentially this move up here can be a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can potentially have 5 waves up. So that would mean this correction is complete here, totally complete. So it'd be an ABC correction. And then we're moving up impulsively with a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. the reason that's still possible, and the reason last night was so amazing with the price, we can see where the price came down to last night here. And we can see it doesn't cross into this territory of wave 1 here, this movement up here. So that means it is still potentially a valid wave 1, 2, 3, 4 with a 5 higher to come. And if that's the case, that is really bullish Bitcoin, very, very bullish, because we're not going to get much of a pullback. We get a pullback correction once we've completed wave 5. Then after that, you're going to get another massive push to the upside. So there's some really bullish scenarios on the table here that might happen. But first of all, we need to navigate what's immediately ahead of us, and that is the CPI and the rate decision tonight. So as I said, here's back to Solana again. Last night was an ideal opportunity to jump in around that 147, 148 area. These were the levels to jump in at. We can see again the projections, the Fibonacci 100% around this level. We dipped a fraction below it. So these were the levels that I was getting in at. The opportunities were clear there. So we had 5 down. Potentially, we've either got 3 up, which is complete here, and we could get 5 down, or we could potentially have had 5 down, then 3 up, which we can clearly see. That could itself be 5 waves up, a bit like the Bitcoin I looked at. This 3 waves back, and then potentially a strong push to the upside. So there's actually a couple of options on the table, but it's just that last night this was such a clear, good buy opportunity that you can now protect, because we can see that solid candle there. And although this is a daily chart, at the moment that is a very, very bullish candle that we see following this red candle, a green candle where it tested lower, tested just beyond 100%. It failed and pushed higher, and so far it's a really good looking hammer candlestick. Effectively could do, it's pushing higher. Let's hope it finishes green. Let's hope the day finishes with the green candle. That would be very bullish. And let's hope it actually finishes above here. And then it would be called a bullish engulfing candlestick. And that would be even more bullish. And we'd expect much more movement to the upside coming very quickly. So that's Solana. We can look around the others, but again, fairly limited on time. So we'll probably take a quick look at Litecoin. Once again, we can see that Litecoin dipped into that stop loss area once again last night. We've had that running for a long time now, where price just keeps dipping into this stop loss area, but it's not managed to close on a daily basis. It's not closed for a long, long time below that area. And even last night it dipped below, didn't manage to close below that line there in this stop loss area, and closed above. So I'm also bullish Litecoin. Perhaps less so than some other coins, but that's bullish as well. So this is across the board. There's going to be confluence across the board, I think. I think we're going to see a good little crypto rally on our hands. Even XRP, I'll just move over to XRP. Potentially, we've got W, potentially X. It's hard to say. Maybe this is an A, B, and a C higher. So maybe I've labeled it wrong, but it's still... I actually expect it's going to be coordinated with the rest of the market. And I think we're probably set for a bit of a rally. I mean, here, very typical XRP. So you get these long shadows down on the candle, long shadow here. After it, you get a pump higher. It happens many, many times. Well, here we had a long shadow down the other day, and we pushed up from there. So I think even XRP, which has been a little bit out of the limelight recently, is looking positive. ICP has had a strong push down. Once again, it's actually dropped into what I call a support zone, because once again, you can see every time it tests into this support zone, not quite as clear as Litecoin, admittedly, but it's still a solid support zone here. And we didn't even quite touch the bottom of the support zone, but we've basically already started to bounce higher. So these are good risk reward areas. It means you can put your trade in with a stop loss below this support area, which hasn't been breached. And yes, it might drop below. You might get stopped out and take a loss, but at least it's a relatively small loss. But the potential upside is tremendous. So the risk against the reward, that ratio is very much in your favor and looking really good. We'll just touch gold and oil, I guess. Again, it could be that if we get weak CPI tonight, that would potentially mean there's just more money available in the markets. I know gold is basically a traditional hedge against inflation, and if we get low CPI tonight, it's hard to say which way gold's going to go. We're very, very close to a potential turning point here because, again, we've had an A, B, and a C. And you can have, basically, this would be some kind of running flat where the C wave comes short of the end of this A wave. So potentially, we could see, it's really difficult to call on gold. I'm just saying longer term, because it's A, B, C down, it's a correction. I do think we're going to see some higher on gold. And I saw some news out yesterday that actually they're really struggling to mine new sources of gold. They're running out of gold to mine in the earth. The mines are running out of gold. So when you think about supply and demand, that's positive in itself. So this is why countries, Russia, but many countries around the world, China, they're actually amassing stores of gold because there is only a limited supply. It's like Bitcoin. That's why they call Bitcoin digital gold, because there's limited supply. Gold itself, there is only a limited supply. There's only so much of it out there, and they're running out of new mineable resources for gold. So that's actually a positive story for gold. And with this correction, I do expect it to push to new all-time high sometime soon. Oil has been one that's really surprised me, but I think this is off the back of potential geopolitical tensions. What Bruce mentioned earlier about nuclear warheads being stationed and so on. Oil is very, very sensitive to geopolitical tension. Obviously, if there is geopolitical tension, it disrupts the supplies through the Persian Gulf and many other areas, and even oil out of Russia, which is a massive producer. So I think that's why we're seeing the oil price. So once it dropped below this support here, I thought, well, that's it. We're going to retest it and fall back down. I was wrong. It actually smashed straight back through to the upside. And now this is looking actually pretty bullish. If I move that out of the way, we'll see. Interestingly, there wasn't crossover here. So 1, 2, 3, potentially 4, 5. So potentially that's 5 waves down. So it's not a clear story for oil here. And I think so much rests on what happens geopolitically. Obviously, the economy as well has a bearing on it about the actual demand for oil. So we talk about supply and we talk about demand, the two things that drive oil. And finally, I think just before we leave, we should take a look at the dollar index. So dollar index has rallied much higher recently. We're potentially just stalling out. And again, much will depend on what happens tonight, because if we get strong CPI, that will actually strengthen the US dollar, and the US dollar will move on to the upside and risk assets will move down. But if we get weak CPI, then likely the US dollar will then weaken. And this beginning of this red candle here could continue, and we might actually, although I've said it's WXY, we could actually continue lower in a more complex correction of some sort. I'd have to relook at that if it happens. But my view is that we're probably going to see weak CPI tonight. If that's the case, we'll probably see some further weakness on the dollar, even though this was massively impulsive to the upside by the look of it. So as I'm always saying, there is no certainty, there are probabilities, and it looked like we're breaking higher, but I could be wrong. But we need to wait for data to see. So we need to wait for tonight and see what happens. And I said that was the last, but we've actually just broken to new all-time highs on the futures here with the S&P 500. So that was a line in the sand a long time ago. It looks like we're breaking through it. So if we are breaking through it once again, that's going to be really, that tells us most likely that we are going to get weak CPI, and we're going to see further extension of that rally. We don't look as though we've completed this move here. It looks uncompleted to me. So I do think there's probably more upside to come. So stock markets, risk assets, crypto, everything is looking really bullish at the moment. And Doge up, Booker memes up, even GameStop, that crazy meme stock is, has rallied massively here from the bottom. But again, it's one of those assets where it's like some of the meme coins. You can actually get good memes and bad memes. Some of the good memes, they're great. They move with the market, and as you perhaps expect them to. Some of the what I'll call shitty memes, or sorry, I'm not allowed to say that on this show, but they're not so good memes. They're not so good memes. are just purely speculatively driven, and actually they make a few people very rich and they make a lot of people very poor. So that's why I don't like getting involved in these out and out memes. I don't like GameStop because only a few people got rich out of that. The majority who pushed all the price up, did all the work, did all the heavy lifting, they're the ones that paid the price, because the big people, the wealthy whales, the rich people, they're the ones who made the money out of it, as is usually the case. So that's pretty much it for today, Bruce. I hope it's helpful. Let's look forward to it.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you very much, Matt. Great report. I'm in positions as well, so we will keep our eye on things and watch. But it is looking nice.
Yeah, keep an eye out on X, MD Trade. I'll be posting stuff all through as the news comes out, before and after the news comes out, just to hopefully help keep people in the right position. So
amazing.
Thanks everybody. Thanks Bruce. Look forward to catching up tomorrow with the results of what happened overnight.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye for now.
So I was recently down up, I guess, for me, currently in New York City. We had our Bitcoin Palooza event, which I've been saying is kind of a predecessor to our September events that are coming up. We have the UN Blockchain Week coming up in September as well. We'll have another Washington Elite Gala and some other events during the time there during the UN Blockchain Week. My friends, Randy, they have a band called the Coinheads. And I wrote a song, my first song. I wrote a song, and I don't have the whole thing, but they sent me a clip. But I wrote a song called "The Rothschild's Tax," and I talk about the tax of inflation and how the Rothschilds, along with the other families that are part of the central banking cartel, have stolen the wealth, almost all the wealth of the United States. You just don't realize it. The U.S. dollar has lost 98% of its value, 98% of its value since the central bank took over the Federal Reserve in 1913. It's something I talk about on the show a lot because people don't talk about it enough. The central banking cartel has had control and has been reigning over this country for 111 years. It has to stop. So I took the opportunity with my friends as they were doing this band, the Coinheads, to write a song. And like I said, I don't have a lot of the clip, but I do have a little bit that he sent over. So I'm gonna play that real quick. You'll hear the whole song at another time. We're gonna be performing this, I think, more and more. But this is the Rothschild tax. This is at Pub Key, which is a very famous Bitcoin bar. Public Key is what it stands for. Pub Key in New York City. Let me see here. Let me just So yeah, it's kind of a fun thing. One of the things we decided was that the way to communicate with people is through music. One of the most important ways to communicate with people is through music. Now, obviously, doing a show like this every morning, being on the Smart Money Culture TV network, being on TV, going across all types of social media. This is all very important. Okay. Talking is great, and obviously I talk a lot, so that's good. Singing is another way that we can reach people and make them understand. People still don't understand what's going on. They don't understand that the United States is owned and completely controlled by the Rothschilds and the other 13 families, which I'll pull up here in a minute. And I've been doing the show, and I've been talking about it since I've been doing the show. And this End the Fed movement, it's on my X account. End the Fed. It's not a joke. We need to end the Fed in order to get anything done. If we don't end the Fed, then we will never be able to. We will never be able to be free. We will never be able to be free. So the families that own the Federal Reserve are, and I'm going to put them right here. I've never done this part before. I'm going to put it on a little banner here, I think. Let's see, banners. The Rothschild tax. Rothschild tax. Let's see here. All right. These are the families. Rothschild, Rockefeller, Morgan, Warburg families are the family, and Stillman are the families who own the Federal Reserve. Now, people don't realize, they also think that the Federal Reserve is, there they are right there, the Rothschild tax. Rothschild. I knew I misspelled that. Let me edit here. Edit. So with an S there, the Rothschilds. There we go. They don't realize that this is that it's privately held. They just think that the central bank is the central bank, and whatever. But it is. It's a privately held entity, and it's owned by these countries, by these families. They all have something in common. Some things we talk about, and some we won't. They're all part of the central banking cartel. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Morgans, the Warburgs, Goldman Sachs, Lehman, Kuhn Loeb, Lazard, Israel Moses Schiff, and Stillman are the families who own the Federal Reserve. And they have the ability to tax you as much as they want. And they have the ability to fund whatever they want. People want to know how Biden paid off. He says he forgave, okay? But they want to know how he funded or forgave, how he paid off all the creditors for the $130-something billion in student loans. Well, the way he did that was the central bank, the Federal Reserve, gave him the money to do it. And they charged you and me for it. They charged us for it. It's about 3% every time they quote unquote front the money. And then what they do is they dilute the money supply, and they take the value from us from that tax. It's a tax of inflation. So those are the families that are involved, that own they own the central bank, which totally controls the United States. They control the Congress. They control everything. They can mint as much money as they want. They can take it from you at will. They don't have to have approval from anybody. And the way they take it is by diluting the money supply. And they can take it away from you as well by controlling interest rates. And they do also market making, because they have unlimited supplies of money. They can do market making, take it out of the commodities. I'm not going to get into that right now, exactly how they do that. I have before. So I'm going to take this banner down, and I want to talk about, obviously we are going into a bit of a bull run here again, and I am bullish on insect. Insect. This is INS. It's trading as is one of these coins, one of these tokens that is on the TON network. TON is just exploding. Okay, and now there's this whole thing that's going on for different for different ecosystems that are building on the networks. So you have of course Ethereum, you have Solana, you have some other ones, Avalanche. Now TON is really emerging as a very strong network. And the coins, the tokens that are launching on TON, TON appears to be some superior code. So you have Insect. Insect is, I brought it up a number of times, and they are building a launch pad in order to launch different projects. And now once they have the launch pad, as long as you own the NFT, if you own the NFT, then you're getting paid for that launch pad. So you can become involved that way, which I think is very interesting. So Insect, INS, is the coin you can see here. It's up over 7% on the 24-hour. Okay, on the month, I'm just toggling here. Up 37% on the month. Sitting there around, it's been flirting above, 1 million to 1.5 market cap, which is a pretty nice move. Okay. And they have a lot going on. And that TON ecosystem is really booming. Let me just take you over to their website here. I only have a couple more minutes, but share this tab instead. I'm not a robot. And this takes me right into their, so it's ready to take over the next bull run. It is nicely positioned. You guys got to figure, okay, if it has 1 point whatever market cap right now, if it goes to 10 million market cap, that's almost 10x. Okay, and 10 million market cap on something like this is a nice ecosystem, is pretty slick. In order to buy it, you need to get some TON. Okay, and then you can just click right over here, and this will take you to their swap, and you can see right here. Okay, and then you just connect your wallet. I'm not going to do it right now. Maybe that's what I'll do. Oh, I got to share this tab. This is the swapping page on DSwap, so you can see TON to INS. I'm not going to connect my wallet right now. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I'm going to switch back over here to the website. How to buy, load some TON. Okay, about the journey. Insect is light. They have their whole story. Insect was born by the Insector God, wants to stop the people from scamming innocent investors in his land. These guys are working hard. Insect landed on the TON chain, as I mentioned. This is the INSPAD. This is the launch pad. Insect play to earn. As you're building out these ecosystems, of course, having ways that people can participate in the project, like in a earn to play type system, is really great. So anyway, I am bullish. I am bullish on that one for sure. I have a comment here. Michael Burns G. Yeah, I've been watching those ones too. So it has been a great show. I want to talk to you guys as well. We have the Turning Point People's Conference. We have the People's Conference coming up this week. It's the 14th through the 16th in Detroit. There we go. Banners. And so that's going to be pretty good. We are planning on being there. You should too. If you haven't already gotten your tickets, you should get them. You can use the Impact Money for a 25% discount. So that's going to be in Detroit. Trump will be there. Trump in Detroit, June 14 through 16. I just put it down at the bottom. It's a Turning Point Conference. Of course, Charlie Kirk is really a big guy in the space. He's been doing a lot of stuff over the years. I'll pull up their website here as I'm talking about it. He's got the big guys coming in, and if one of the things that is important is that we talk to each other and that we see each other, right? We have to see each other. We have to talk to each other. We need to see each other. So Trump is in Detroit. He's going to be in Detroit this week. Okay, this is the People's Convention. The People's Convention, June 14th through 16th in Detroit. I know some people are scared of Detroit. Detroit is beautiful. Detroit is beautiful, guys, especially this time of year. It's unbelievable. It has an unbelievable spring, let me tell you. It is absolutely beautiful. Detroit is beautiful. I know there's some scary places in Detroit as well, admittedly, but overall, this is a beautiful place, okay? By the people, for the people. This is from the website, featuring the most prominent names in the movement. A straw poll. Thousands of attendees from all 50 states, dozens of sponsoring, and other countries as well. Nigel Farage is speaking. Dozens of sponsoring organizations, and preceding the RNC by a month, the People's Convention will serve as the natural focal point of the national conservative political movement ahead of the 2024 election. Attendees will leave equipped with tools, knowledge, and network to lead their communities to win in November. So it is a big election here. Of course, we have a lot of problems with this election. There's no problem. There's no denying that. I mean, there's a lot. We're still on the magic electronic voting machines. We still have a lot of absentee ballots, which they're calling mail-in ballots now. And those are very hard to really authenticate, and they seem to always get counted and seem to always go the other way as well. I see people still talking about, under 10 million people that have entered illegally since Biden took office. But if you remember, Tucker Carlson told us that there's over 20 million people that have entered illegally since Biden took office. So he said 22, and you factor that in with all of the other illegals. I mean, there's well over 50 million people that have entered this country illegally, and those people have gone about their lives, and they've had families, and many of them, and they've had families and gotten married, and they have kids, and all these things. And those people, they're not going to be. I mean, I don't think they're going to be removed. I think the days of having an Operation Wetback, I don't see the public support for that. And Operation Wetback was the name of the operation back in the 1950s, where we removed a lot of illegals that were here. We removed a lot of people that had already started families, and even people that I think had gone on and somehow gotten citizenship, but had come illegally, and we removed them. But I don't see the public support for something like that. So I think my general consensus here is that these people are here to stay. And what I always talk about, we have to work with each other. Not saying that I wouldn't support removing people that have come here illegally. Okay, I think that we should remove the people that have come here illegally. I just don't see the public support for it. And I am a realist in my older age and later career. And hey, look, we have to work with everybody. I have kids too, and we have to leave a country for the kids that is that they have a future in. And we have to figure out how to work with everybody. We have to figure out how to work with the people that are here. And if that involves removing the ones that are illegal, I'm all for it. But we'll see. Like I said, I don't see the public support for that. So this Detroit, June 14 through 16, use Impact Money. Impact Money, get a 25% discount on your tickets. I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody there. We are doing our best efforts to get out there. Myself, my brother is still in town. Of course, David, he's still in the country. He is just itching to get back to Portugal. I guess it's just nice life over there. But he'll be here as well. He came down as well in New York City as we did the Bitcoin Palooza. So he was there too. And that was a lot of fun. So Trump is going to be talking. He's going to deliver. So of course we have a kind of a Trump rally in the middle of the convention. Charlie Kirk, Vivek is there. Of course, his name is definitely talked about, as well as Ben Carson as VP. Stephen Bannon, who has supposed to turn himself into jail, a political prisoner, he's supposed to turn himself in on July 1st. Donald Trump Jr., of course, Tulsi Gabbard, Governor Kristi Noem, Candace Owens. Candace Owens is really, I was never really one way or the other about Candace Owens, but I have to say she's come out and said a lot of things that are hard to say, as far as you get a lot of lashback. And so I have gotten a lot of respect for her. or as the time has gone by. Senator Rick Scott, Jack Prosbiak, the great Roger Stone. Roger Stone. And this is a little different here, so I don't know if somebody pulled out or not. Anyway, Benny Johnson, we got Aubrey Shines, Kimberly Guilfoyle, Senator J.D. Vance, and of course, this is June 14 through 16. Use Impact Money, get yourself some tickets. Love to see everybody. Senator Mike Lee will be there as well. Mike Lee has just started just introduced some legislation to end the Fed, and that is absolutely necessary. It's absolutely necessary. Lee Zeldin, you have Matt Gaetz, Brandon Tatum, Eli Crane, Eric Burleson, Tom Klingenstein, Scott Pressler. You have Mike Lindell, James Lindsay, Warren Davidson, Michael Cloud, Byron Donalds, Rebecca Weber, Eric Underwood, Harmeet Dillon, James O'Keefe, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, Michael Watley. Oh man, this is going to be star-studded. It is star-studded. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're really looking forward to it. Get your tickets today. Use the discount code Impact Money. Impact Money. I'm signing off, guys. See you soon.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.